All right, Shalom, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises to Yahweh, Ba'Hashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'Hashem, Rakar Kodash, double understand the apostles, great millstone that taught me this truth. And salutations, all you sincere laborers out there pushing this truth in all sincerity and faith and honesty. And this is just, just going to be a quick update here. It's very beautiful. Okay, quick video says, dollars decline, India to pay for Russian air defense system in rubles, however you want to pronounce it. So this was that deal that Russia to sell India s-400, I believe, missile defense systems, and those are systems that the U.S. They fear very much, because those are highly sophisticated missile defense systems that's able to stop all sorts of bombs, as far as even up to nukes. That's able to seek out stealth jets, you know, so on and so forth. So the U.S. don't want countries to get hold to those. That's why if you've been watching, if you do a quick Google search right here, really quick, just type this: America warns India, because I was watching this when this popped off. Amid India's plan to buy Russian s-400 missiles, U.S. warns of sanctions. So the U.S. warned India of sanctions if they bought this system, okay? So, and this is all throughout the news. I can see if I can play a quick clip for you real quick.
I'm Kelsey Grammer. My dad was gunned down at his home.
The U.S. has warned India it could be facing sanctions if Delhi goes ahead with the purchase of the Russian s-400 missile defense system.
We would still have very significant concerns if India pursued major new platforms and systems from Russia. There was an impression that we're going to completely protect the India relationship, insulate India from any fallout from this legislation, no matter what they do. That is a bit misleading.
The Sanctions Act was signed by Donald Trump in 2017 to impose penalties on Russia, Iran, and North Korea. It also allows for moves against any country engaging with Russia's defense or intelligence sectors. But the new U.S. defense bill lets the president waive sanctions against some of Washington's partners, like India, Indonesia, and Vietnam, if lifting them would benefit U.S. interests. India is now in the final stages of signing off on a $6 billion deal with Russia for the s-400. The technology can engage up to 80 targets at a time with a range of 400 kilometers, and it's been described in Western media as one of the best air defense systems on the market, seemingly become a target for Washington.
Now, like they said here, it says one, and let's rewind that real quick. This is why the U.S. does not want India to get this. See if I can rewind it, play that really quick.
Up to 80 targets at a time with a range of 400 kilometers, and it's been described in Western media as one of the best air defense systems on the market.
One of the best air defense systems in the market. That's how the West described it, meaning the U.S., United States. All right, so they don't want these countries to get hold of this s-400 missile system. Like she said, 80 targets at one time. So whether it's a stealth bomber, whether it's a nuclear missile, whether it's a cruise missile, all right, it can hit up to 80 targets at once. All right, so they don't want India to get a hold to this. Okay.
However, it's that $6 billion we mentioned that's seemingly become a target for Washington's Sanctions Act, while India continues to stress it isn't violating international law by going ahead.
CAATSA is not a UN act, it's a US act. We have spoken about the s-400 for years, not just today.
The warning from the White House comes just a week before American and Indian top officials are due to meet in New Delhi. India is not the first country to come under scrutiny for its dealings with Russia. Since 2017, Turkey has been under pressure from America for wanting to buy the s-400. However, Ankara promised it would retaliate against any penalties coming from Washington.
They don't want those countries to get hold of that s-400, man. So when this nuclear war kick off, or even just for defense, all right, if I have this, you know, if I was the president of India and I had this s-400 system, America would think twice about invading me, think twice about making a missile attack on me, they would think twice about it. Because if I can shoot missiles out, and we all know the American missile defense system is flawed, it doesn't work. So if I can shoot missiles out and you can't hit, the whole term hit and not get hit, they don't want these countries having that capability. All right.
We spoke to international affairs professor Sarim Chowli, who believes that India could be pushed into strengthening ties with Russia and China.
This is a
and that's all America is doing with his being a tyrant. All right, what all they're doing is just pushing these countries closer and closer together to form relations amongst each other. So really America is just shooting itself in the foot. All right.
Negotiating tactic of Trump administration. We have seen this many times. They try to apply maximum pressure and then they concede and backtrack, because they do realize that they have other geopolitical goals in the Asia Pacific for which India should be up there as a central player. We are passing through a very thorny phase since Donald Trump has taken the White House, because he doesn't seem to have that grand strategy for Asia Pacific. It is also forcing us to rethink our approach to China and to Russia, simply because we need to have our own counter pressure points in order for the Trump administration to understand the importance and the value of India, that we are not a banana republic that can be pushed around with blackmail and threats of sanctions. Russia is a defense partner and we are going to stay with them. S-400 Triumph is the best surface-to-air missile that suits our geostrategic needs for our self-defense. There is no substitute for S-400 anywhere in the world. The threat is more to do with fears that if the S-400 gets mixed up with the F-35, the American fighter jet which we are looking to acquire, then the military secrets will spill out.
All right. So, let's continue on here. So that we saw that system, and once again, it was a lot of mess on that. All right. Go back to just doing that simple Google search right here. And this is current news, September 21st, 2018. America warns of U.S. sanction to India if they buy the S-400. All right. So this is current news, man. All right. So let me go back to this, and we saw the deal, So they're still going to go through with the deal, but they said we're dollars decline. We're not even going to use the US dollar to make this purchase. All right. So, usually in order to do that international trade, buy and sell, you would have to convert your money into US dollars. All right? Because everyone used it. So it was like a universal a payment, so to say. So look, now that's $6 billion that they're not even going to use of US dollars. They're going to use a different currency. So it says dollars decline, India to pay for Russian air defense system in rubles. It says the contract between Moscow and New Delhi on supplies of Russian S-400 air defense system will be settled in rubles, according to Russia's Deputy Prime Minister Yuri Borisov. The move comes as Moscow intensified recent efforts to make de-dollarization, of the Russian economy one of the main pillars of its policy. So that's one of the main pillars of Russia's policy, is the de-dollarization, to get rid of the US dollar. It says the Kremlin is looking for an alternative to the US dollar and mutual settlements with international partners. The key point of the plan is to make it more profitable for Russian exporters and importers to use rubles instead of dollars. And then what that's going to do? You Americans, it's going to be a bad day. All the countries are going to get affected because the US dollar is still so to say fluctuating or being pumped throughout the world economy. So everybody's going to suffer. But, America's going to suffer. All right. It says earlier this month, President Vladimir Putin said safety and security of the economy was the major drive behind the decision to eliminate the role of the U.S. dollar. So safety safety. All right. So safety and security of their economy. So we have to get rid of this dollar because it's not safe. It's not backed by anything. It's being constantly inflated. Americans are printing how much U.S. dollars a day? All right. Matter of fact, let's do a quick Google search on that. All right. See how many US dollars bear with me. Printed every day. So the Bureau of Engraving and Printing produces 38 million notes a day with a face value of approximately 541 million. That doesn't mean that there's 541 million more money circulating today than there was yesterday, though, because 90% of the notes printed each year are used to replace notes already in circulation. All right, so they say, but $541 million are being printed daily. 38 million notes. So that's inflation, man. Especially if no one is using a dollar. You're printing and printing and printing, but no one is using it. And they say that they recycle the money. They burn, which they do. They probably burn certain of it. But they're printing this money to buy their own debt, to buy themselves out of their own debt, which makes absolutely no sense, man. All right. To pretty much print their way out of debt, so to say. Here's the U.S. debt. All right, well, we just print more money to get ourselves out of debt. That's a huge, huge, huge debt bubble, man. All right. So it's not safe. It's not safe. So they have to. Vladimir Putin said safety and security of the economy was the major drive behind the decision to eliminate the role of the U.S. dollar. The measure reportedly comes amid threats from Washington to cut Russia off from dollar transactions, hit Russia's sovereign bonds with another round of sanctions. So, which is like, if you really look at it, it's like they're doing this on purpose. They're purposely trying to crash this dollar. Because here it is, you cut Russia off from dollar transactions. All right? You cut them off from dollar transactions, but you don't expect them to use another currency. So you cut them off from using the dollar. Don't you want as many people using the dollar as much as possible so the dollar can stay afloat? But here it is, you cut a major superpower off from using the U.S. dollar to make international transactions, which makes absolutely no sense. Like they're purposely trying to crash this dollar here. It says to cut off Russia from dollar transactions and hit Russia's sovereign bonds with another round of sanctions. The Indian government has been increasing military cooperation with Russia. In early October, Russia and India agreed on supplies of Russia's s-400 missile system worth $5.4 billion, and that transaction will not be done in U.S. dollars. All right. It says the deal was clinched during Putin's 2-day visit to New Delhi, however it's pronounced. The countries also reported plans to buy Russian T-14 Armada tanks, guided missile frigates, and could potentially develop submarines and next-generation fighter jets in cooperation with Russia. The S-400 is a long-term range air defense system designed to protect strategically important sites like key infrastructure objects, military units, or ballistic missile launch silos against enemy aircraft and missiles. All right, the system is capable of destroying aerial targets at extremely long range, up to 400 kilometers. All right, and that's pretty much it on this article. I'm going to get some precepts right here real quick. Jeremiah 51 and verse 1. It says, "Thus said the Lord, behold, I will raise up against Babylon, America, all right, and against them that dwell in the midst of them, that rise up against me, a destroying wind." And that destroying wind is nuclear missiles, because that wind, when you watch a nuclear missile video, all right, that wind comes and it destroys everything in its path. And that's ultimately what's going to happen to the good old USA. It says, "And will send unto Babylon fanners that shall fan her, and shall empty her land, for in the day of trouble they shall be against her round about." And you can see that happening. These countries are forming all these military alliances within themselves to come up against America. It says, "Against him that bendeth the bow, let the archer bend his bow." And that's talking about those missiles. It says, "Against him that lifteth himself up in his braggading, and spare ye not her young man, destroy ye utterly all her hosts. So destroy all her hosts. Spare nobody. We know it says, thus the slain shall fall in the land of the Chaldeans, and they that are thrust through in her streets. Alright, let me go down to this. Babylon hath been a golden cup in the Lord's hand that made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of her wine, therefore the nations are mad. And what's some of that wine? The US dollar. All right, having people have faith or believe that paper is actually worth something. So that's wine. That's philosophy. Here, this is worth this, but it's not backed by anything. So they see that, and what Putin said, it's not safe for the economy security. So we have to get rid of it. So they're mad. Like, here it is. We invested in got all these U.S. treasuries, bonds, so on and so forth. But this dollar isn't worth anything. All right. It says, Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. Howl for her. Take balm for her pain. If so, she may be healed, and she can't be healed. These are deadly wounds, man, that's taking place to Babylon. It says, we would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. And this is the point. Forsake her. And that's what they did. They're forsaking her. We're not going to use her currency anymore. Forsake her. Let us go up, everyone, into his own country. For her judgment reacheth unto heaven and is lifted up, even up to the skies. So the great judgment of Babylon the Great is coming, which will be America. All right. How we know this is talking about modern day Babylon, not ancient Babylon, because this didn't happen to ancient Babylon. All right, so that's how we know this is talking about that future Babylon. But with that, all right, Lord willing, edify. I'm gonna give all praise to Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, Hashem Kadash, double honors to the elder apostles, the great millstone, that taught me this truth, and blessings to all you sincere laborers out there pushing this truth in all sincerity and faith and honesty.